Good afternoon, everyone. I'm Governor John Carney. Thank you for joining us today for the signing of a proclamation designating this month as Native American Heritage Month, which is a celebration and a recognition that's happening across our country. I'm joined today by Chief Dennis Coker of the Lenape tribe here in Delaware, and by Tim Slavin, the Director of the Delaware Historical and Cultural Affairs Division. Thank you both for being with us. We also have Pam, who's our sign language expert for the deaf and hard of hearing. Unfortunately, Chief Carmine of the Nanticoke tribe had a prior commitment and could not join us this afternoon for this celebration, the signing of the proclamation. Before I turn it over to Chief Coker, I would like to recognize the passing of former Nanticoke Chief William Daisy, who passed away last week. Our thoughts are with his family and community during a challenging time for all of them and for us as Delawareans. Today, we're reflecting on our history here in Delaware and the significance of the Lenape and Nanticoke tribes here, who are the first residents of our state. I'll conclude this event by signing a proclamation designating November as Native American Heritage Month, and turn it over to Chief Coker and Tim. With that, let's turn it over to Chief Coker.
Thank you, Governor Carney. I first must acknowledge that the place from where I speak is the unceded traditional homeland of the Sicanese people of the Unalastico clan of the larger Lenape diaspora. It was 413 years ago when Henry Hudson sailed into the Delaware Bay. This began the darkest period for the American Indians in the mid-Atlantic. In that first century, we experienced dramatic population decline, with many families leaving their homeland. For those who stayed behind, holding on to culture and identity was difficult. By the end of the 18th century and throughout half of the 20th century, we found comfort in our own churches and schools. By the end of the 20th century, hiding in plain sight was no longer necessary. Education and opportunity allowed us to enter the mainstream of society. We found ourselves being asked to sit at the table. Being small in number with little political clout, developing collaborative relationships was a must. Today, partnering with state agencies, environmental advocacy groups, and education institutions, our voices are being heard. Some of our needs are even being met. We are hopeful we will have access to much needed land. We are thankful for the recognition afforded by Native American Heritage Month during this time of giving thanks. Wanishi, thank you, Governor Carney, for a proclamation urging all Delawareans to think about the original people who lived in this land prior to that very dark colonial period. We are optimistic about our future, a future where all live in peace and harmony with all of creation. Wanishita. Thank you, Governor Carney.
Thank you very much, Chief Coker. Thank you for your leadership. Thank you for your inspiration of the tribe and of the original people that inhabited the state of Delaware. Also joined today by Tim Slavin, who's the Director of the Division of Historical Affairs in the Department of State. Tim, thank you for joining us for this proclamation signing. We appreciate everything that you do for us.
Thank you, Governor, and thank you, Chief Coker. My name is Tim Slavin, and I do serve as the Director of the Division of Historical and Cultural Affairs for the state of Delaware. At the Division of Historical and Cultural Affairs, we have a long-standing relationship with the Lenape tribe, the Nanticoke tribe, as well as the Delaware Nation of Indians in Oklahoma, the Delaware Tribe of Indians in Oklahoma, and the Stockbridge Munsee Indians in Wisconsin. We value these relationships greatly. We strive to be conscientious stewards of our lands and our heritage, and we approach our work with respect for tradition and for the lives of those who came before us. Our respect for the Native American community and its heritage and history begins with diplomacy. We treat each tribe as a nation that we live together with in this world. Many people are surprised to learn the extent of our relationship with the Native American community. We invite consultation with the Native American tribes on many projects and issues in Delaware. This includes construction projects such as roads and bridges, permitted projects which may disturb our land, sea, or air, or simply and most importantly, asking for wise counsel on how we can interpret our cultural resources. We invite this consultation because of the perspective it brings us. It requires us to pause, to listen, and to thoroughly and ethically work our way through challenges. That spirit of pausing and listening and ethically working is something I have learned personally from both Chief Coker and Chief Carmine over the past many years, and I remain grateful to them for their insight and knowledge they've always been willing to lend. Last week's announcement that ancestral lands have been purchased in Kent County and Sussex County for the Nanticoke and Lenape tribes is truly an extraordinary moment for all of us. I want to personally thank Chief Carmine and Chief Coker for their vision and their determination. I want to also offer special thanks to Blaine Phillips of the Conservation Fund for his absolute mastery of how to put that all together. I want to thank the governor and especially extend my thanks to my colleagues at the Department of Natural Resources and Environmental Control, otherwise known as DENREC, and their Cabinet Secretary, Sean Garvin. It was DENREC's creativity and vision which has resulted in this generational change for Delaware and the stewardship of our lands. And this moment is a shining example of that work. And I think we remain grateful to Secretary Garvin and my colleagues at DENREC for their work in this. Thank you, Governor Carney, for your leadership of this initiative, and thank you for today's proclamation.
Thank you very much, Tim, and thank you for mentioning the purchase of that land. It'll be a crown jewel for the state of Delaware, obviously the tribes as well, and something that we can all be very proud of. And so as we close out the month of November, I'd like to read a proclamation designating the month as Native American Heritage Month, and it reads, whereas the state of Delaware joins with the nation in honoring the rich history and paying tribute to the traditions of Native Americans, and whereas according to the 2020 Census demographic profile, more than 4,500 American Indian and Alaska Natives reside in the state of Delaware, and whereas Delaware is home to the Lenape Indian Tribe of Delaware, based in Kent County, and the Nanticoke Indian Tribe, based in Sussex County, and whereas the self-governing tribal communities of the Lenape and Nanticoke continue to preserve and promote their culture and carry on traditions of their heritage, and whereas Native Americans have enriched the cultural heritage of Delaware and the United States and continue to teach economic, environmental, and cultural sustainability, now therefore we, John Carney, Governor, and Bethany Hall, Lieutenant Governor, do hereby declare November 2021 as Native American Heritage Month in the state of Delaware, and encourage all Delawareans to recognize the important contributions Native Americans have made to our state and to honor their rich history during this month. The Lieutenant Governor has already signed the proclamation, and now so have I. And so we celebrate Native American Heritage Month in the state of Delaware.
Thank you, Onishi.